Introduction to Master's Road starting from farming. www.zhaoshuyuan.com, the leader of rural wealth creation, Zhao Shanha's soul pierces through the infinite world of spiritual roots, destiny, and common ginseng, and he becomes the master by chance. Carrying a cultivation version of the Wealth Sutra, he led the impoverished Nyenyen school on a journey of farming, poverty alleviation, and joint certification. Years later, at the ceremony of Zhao Laozu's transformation into a god, the flag shook and the bell rang. https://www.zayashuan.com. Chapter 1. New Tips for Fish Farming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. First Order Spirit Beast, it's done. The main mountain of Nyenyen sect is hidden in the river. The young and handsome cultivator stared intently at the half-foot green fish in front of him. The spirit measuring platform beneath the fish jumps with the firefly green, symbolizing the first-order spirit beast. In the sea of knowledge, a volume of ancient and simple scriptures is also emitting a faint light. The title of the book is The Classic of Getting Rich. The page that opens tells the story of the method of crossbreeding and breeding of flatfish in underground river environments. Zhao Shanha comes from an ordinary family in a small town, and his peers are admitted to top universities in the country. Due to information asymmetry, I mistakenly chose a major related to agriculture, and after graduation, I rooted myself in rural areas to work in agriculture, rural areas, and farmers. Working overtime and returning late, I encountered a car accident and accidentally traveled to the world of cultivation. In this life, he has a single spiritual root and a single destiny, which can be considered as the top cultivation qualification. Unfortunately, the Nyenyen sect is in dire straits, with no access to wealth or land, and their background once again hinders their talent. Unable to find a shared ginseng, more than 20 years away from home, the realm is worthy of practicing 5 layers of qi. Amidst repeated setbacks, Zhao Shanha scattered his mind on the back mountain of the sect and discovered a fragment of a scripture near an abandoned barren mountain. The fragments turn into blue light and enter the sea of consciousness, condensing into the Wealth Sutra. The content of the Book of Wealth covers everything, including spiritual beasts, spiritual plants, spiritual materials, and various arts, making it an encyclopedia of this world. After exploring for a while, Zhao Shanha decided to use the Book of Wealth to start his old business of industrial poverty alleviation. The flathead fish is a wild fish in the hidden river, with a delicious taste but a thin spiritual heritage, so it cannot be seen on the table. According to the method of the Book of Wealth, Zhao Shanha bought various first-order spiritual fish with similar bloodlines and began to bury his head in experiments. Egg collection, sperm retrieval, insemination, and hatching are all familiar operations from previous lifetimes. After several failures, the perfect category suitable for the underground river environment was finally selected, and the taste and grade were selected simultaneously. Now that there are parent fish, with only a slight renovation of the underground river and expansion of the breeding scale, the economic situation of the sect will definitely improve. Where to go? Cut down the materials. Since we have crossed the realm of cultivating immortals, we cannot survive and will eventually become ants. The resources here are scarce and there is no way out. Once the spiritual fish are properly placed and a stable source of wealth is left for the sect, I will help Master find the longevity pill and repay the sect's kindness. It's time for me to go to the real cultivation world outside and pursue my own path. Zhao Shanha held the spirit fish in his hand and walked out of the dark river, secretly calculating in his heart. At this moment, a noisy sound came from the distant foothills. What about Mr. Zhao? When will he repay the money owed to the Taoist? Get the Lizi of the Nyenyen sect out of here. Get out. Get out. Zhao Shanha hurried down the mountain and saw his fellow disciples arguing with a group of uninvited guests. The ones who are at the forefront are the creditors of the Nyenyen sect, and with the help of the scattered cultivators, there are actually dozens of people. The Nyenyen sect only has more than 10 cultivators, appearing weak and powerless. The two sides confronted each other across the boundary marker, and the debt collectors repeatedly instigated and probed, but dared not actually cross the boundary marker. Crossing the boundary means attacking the mountains and becoming mortal enemies with the Nianyan faction. The old man and genie, who led the way to surround the mountain, said, "It's only natural to pay off debts. You have some face in the Sinai desert, and we don't want to get into trouble. Please come out and talk to the old leader. His name is Kai Beiyu, one of the creditors of the Nianyan sect." As the head of the sect's treasury, Xianxia knows better than anyone that the Nianyan sect is now in dire straits, and the leader cannot be trusted. When the master in charge was young, he was once ambushed, causing damage to his foundation and leaving no hope of forming a pill. After his lack of progress in cultivation in his later years, he became obsessed with numerology. Not willing to sell off the ancestral property of the sect, but also borrowing from various sources to raise huge funds, they purchased second-class top-grade derivative magic tools. Master Shou Yuan has not had much, and peeping into the heavenly way is a measure of sacrificing one's life. The disciples of the sect tried hard to persuade him, but he was determined to go his own way. In the end, no one saw him and he was alone in the dark room studying fate. Nowadays, everyone's eyebrows are burning, and the old man is still addicted to pushing and spreading. Hiding in a small building to form a unity, still in the wind and rain, as peaceful as a mountain. On the side of the Nianyan sect, the solemn ceremony of old age was followed by Zhao Lao, who came out to bow and say, "Master Kai and fellow Taoists, as the saying goes, distant relatives are not as good as close neighbors. I remember that the Yun sect is facing difficulties now and the spirit stone is not working together. Can you please forgive me for some time after years of being loyal to the local party?" Beside Kai Beiyu, a scar-faced cultivator smiled strangely and said, "Affection. I only have feelings for Lingxia. If you don't have money, you can use assets to offset your debts. I think your mountain is pretty good. It's a second-level intermediate-level spiritual land, which is really enviable." Idiotic delusions. Zhao Lao angrily said, "I owe you only 500 second-order spirit stones in total, and you want to swallow our Nianyan sect. I'm not afraid of shattering your big teeth." Scarface sneered and said, "Hee, it's easy to say. You should have taken it out. I heard that everyone surnamed Zhao is a fraud from top to bottom, and their reputation is not good. 500 second-level spirit stones are almost equivalent to the annual income of the Nianyan sect, and they cannot be taken out at once." Zhao was speechless and his face turned red. "How dare the vertical sun insult me, Zhao? If it had been in earlier years, how could I have acted recklessly like you?" Scarface is a notorious villain in the late stage of qi cultivation. Of course, the Nianyan sect cannot borrow money from such people. He is purely here to cause trouble. After being bullied one after another, the disciples of the Nianyan sect were furious and offered their own magical tools. The creditors also fiercely opposed each other, drawing their swords and crossbows for a moment. "Stop it." Seeing the situation deteriorating, Xianxia stopped and walked towards the opposite side alone. Seeing this situation, Zhao Lao was extremely anxious and said, "Quickly retreat from the mountains and rivers. Now is not the time for you to show off your abilities, kid." Another debt collector joked, "Xianxia, you can't offset your debt with that fish in your hand. It's more like catching 10 or 8 more." There was a burst of laughter. Xianxia ignored the noise and approached calmly, saying, "Dear fellow Taoists, as far as I know, the debt is still over a year away before it matures. I have never defaulted on the Nianyan sect. Why did I come to your doorstep early to pressure you?" Kai Beiyu was reasonable and replied. "Originally, the leader of the Nianyan sect came from a noble background, and we could have trusted him. But now it is widely rumored that the old leader's time is running out. If the new leader doesn't acknowledge the old accounts in the future, who will everyone go to?" After understanding the causes and consequences, Xianxia said, "You all have peace of mind. Our sect has just cultivated a mid-level spiritual beast called Wenyu, which can produce 1,000 fish per year. When the spiritual fish are harvested, we will repay your debts on time, including the principal and interest." Ha ha ha. Upon hearing Xianxia's words, the creditors laughed even happier, looking back and forth. Without any hair on your mouth, it's not easy to handle things. Do young people nowadays speak so poorly? Forgive him, he's too young to know. As early as a few decades ago, after multiple explorations by the master of the Imperial Beast Gate, he once concluded that the Sinai Desert cannot produce spirit fish. How about it be said that the Nyenyen sect is all scammers? The old scammers brought out a group of little scammers. As the saying goes, without fish, there is no feast. However, throughout the entire Sinai Desert, there is no spirit fish that can be brought to the banquet. There is a lake in the Sinai Desert called Banyua Lake. The fine-scaled red carp produced in the lake have no grade and only contain a small amount of spiritual energy. Zhaozhuiyuan.com. Even this kind of pseudo-spirit beast is already a standard accessory for important banquets in various immortal sections. It can be imagined how precious a true first-order spirit fish is. The experts of the Imperial Beast Gate have long concluded that Xianxia, a young man, could not have such ability. Kai Beiyu was originally a master of fish farming and became somewhat interested in the spirit fish in the mouth of Zhao Mountain. He couldn't help but say, "Why is it called Wenwen fish?" Xianxia ignored the ridicule and sarcasm of others and said loudly, "This fish was born in an underground river and grew up in a cold abyss. It can't see and can't help itself. But it goes upstream all its life and is not afraid of dangers. Isn't it just like our friars, who were born in heaven and earth and were confined to prison? Only with a firm mind and walking against the sky can we ask questions for thousands of miles and live 900 million years. Okay. Okay. Okay." The creditor Kai Beiyu said 3 good words, stroking his beard and nodding in appreciation, saying, "The boy has great aspirations. The symbolism of this fish is also very good." Upon hearing the appreciation, junior sister Qingxi burst out laughing with joy. The beautiful girl beside her, Eugene, puzzled and said, "Why is junior sister laughing?" "I laughed at this old man being played with by his senior brother without realizing it. Senior brother once said that although the flathead fish in the dark river taste beautiful, it cannot be sold for a good price due to its crude name. If you want to promote it, you can only change it to a good name. Blind flathead fish, asking, blind fish all mean the same thing, changing soup does not change medicine. But people are so ignorant, as long as the story is told well, there will be a big enemy willing to buy it." Eugene's family had profound knowledge, and after a little thought, she understood the concept of wit and couldn't help but smile. "What a blind question. Senior brother Xianxia, you are also too bad." Immediately, she frowned and became worried again. At the end of the day, wild flatfish are just fake spirit beasts. Even if they are temporarily scammed away, what should we do a year later? Chapter 2. Little Boy Cleverly Resolving Difficulties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Scarface saw Kai Beiyu and Xianxia talking happily and blamed him, saying, "Old Kai is confused. What are you talking to him about? He said he has a first-level spirit fish, what proof can he provide? When we capture the Nyenyen sect, the spirit fish and little beauties in the spirit land will not all belong to us." Xianxia turned to Scarface and used the object control technique to lightly wave the fish, pushing it towards the middle position between the two. He hovered and said, "If you have any doubts, you can conduct a public appraisal. This is the first true spiritual fish in the old land of Qiyun." "Humph. I want to see what kind of trick you're playing." Scarface was skeptical and approached the fish, staring intently for a long time before exclaiming in surprise, This is indeed a first-order spirit beast. The atmosphere in the crowd instantly boiled. What? It's really true. Do we also have a first-order spirit fish in the Sinai Desert? Impossible. With this kid, how can we overturn the conclusion of the powerful beast gate? Most people have not yet recovered from the shock, but have a lively flattery in their hearts. I don't want the spirit stone that owes me anymore. I'll pre-order 50 taels first. I don't want it either. I'll order 80 taels. My daughter will get married next year and I'm worried about not having the final main course. The senior brothers and sisters of the Nianyan sect were extremely surprised. The Nianyan sect has been saved this time. The beautiful girl's nervous heart finally let go and proudly said. It turns out that senior brother Xianxia has really cultivated a first-class spirit fish. Surprisingly, amidst the lively and peaceful atmosphere, there was a burst of drinking. Offense my mountain gate, insult my ancestor, and seek death. Before Zhao Xianxia's words appeared, he secretly manipulated the talisman seal to attack Scarface. Between the lightning and flint, eerie green flame flew in front of him like a ghost, and Scar's face didn't react, and his body was burned through. The green fire pierced through Scarface's chest and fell to the ground, leaving a black pit on the ground with terrifying power. Minyuan Fire Seal Script. Scarface drooped, seeing his own empty chest and his right foot crossing the boundary marker of the Nianyan sect. He came to inspect the spirit fish and accidentally took 2 more steps forward, just crossing the boundary. The notorious culprit in the desert twisted his face like his soul was torn apart. Then he fell to the ground with a loud crash, his soul in the air. Despite being at a disadvantage, Zhao Xianxia, who was still chatting and laughing a moment ago, unexpectedly launched a surprise attack and made the most ferocious and fastest move in the first-level seal script, the Abyss Fire. It wasn't until Scarface collapsed that the debt collectors reacted from disbelief and retreated, while sacrificing protective shields. Zhao Xianxia walked briskly to the side of the scarred face corpse, skillfully picking up the storage bag and speaking with righteousness. Everyone. Scarface insulted my ancestor Zhao Yuanying, and violated the forbidden area for ancestor worship in the Yuanying sect. He has his own way of death and has been executed on the spot by me in accordance with my defense authority. If anyone dares to stand up for them, they are the mortal enemies of my Nianyan sect. Don't blame me for suing the southern Xinjiang. Please come and judge the Qiyun sect's Yuanying patriarch. Zhao Xianxia never leaves the word Yuanying behind, referring to the main sect of the Nianyan sect, the Qiyun sect. Qiyun sect started its business here, but the 4th-level spiritual land established by the founding sect was unexpectedly destroyed. 700 years ago, the entire area was relocated to southern Xinjiang. During the southward migration, some low-level cultivators and ordinary relatives were unable to leave their homeland and voluntarily stayed, establishing the current Nianyan sect in place. In order to trace the origin and not forget the inheritance, Qiyun sect established the position of guarding the old land of Qiyun sect at the abandoned Old Mountain Gate, which is traditionally held by the head of the Nianyan sect. The responsibility of guarding the old territory of Qiyun is to protect the ancestral lineage, maintain order in the old territory of the sect, and ensure that the ancestral temple is filled with incense. When Qiyun Zong returned to the ancestral gate to hold sacrificial activities, there was also a place to settle down and someone to organize reception. Zhao Zongzi, the master of Zhao Xianxia, held both the positions of the head of the Nianyan sect and the former defender of the Qiyun sect. Qianzong has not returned to his hometown for many years, which inevitably raises doubts about any changes in southern Xinjiang. Nowadays, the Nianyan sect is declining, and the surrounding forces are restless and constantly making small moves to explore. They are in such a big battle, and there must be someone behind them to support them. Zhao Xianxia is not naive enough to think that he can settle it just by offering benefits. If we don't use thunderous means to kill those who take the lead in causing trouble, we won't be safe in the future. What a big breath. This time is different from the past. Do you think the Nianyan sect can still cover up the sky with one hand? A majestic pressure struck, and one person flew over two groups of people from afar. After the puppet Scarface died, the person hiding behind the scenes walked directly to the stage. Surprisingly, he is a foundation-building cultivator. Upon seeing the newcomer, the mob surrounding the mountain immediately regained their backbone. Scarface has been doing evil for many years, but no one dares to provoke him because it is rumored that he is the adopted son of Lu Biao, the sixth leader of the Black Sha sect. Black Shaman is the strongest force in the surrounding area, occupying the only cultivation workshop in the Sinai Desert, Dayu Workshop, with over 10 foundation-building monks. Lu Biao had been in the dark all along, but unexpectedly Xianxia suddenly took action and angrily said, "At such a young age, my mind is so gloomy. I have designed to harm my son. If I don't kill you today, I am useless as a foundation-building cultivator." Just now, facing Scarface, the disciples of the Nianyan sect still had a rebellious heart. Now, seeing the foundation-building cultivator, their faces have turned pale with fear. Only Xianxia was not afraid at all. He sealed his hands and offered an old talisman seal. The talisman paper shone brightly, with countless golden threads swirling and flowing. He resolutely said, "How about building a foundation? Do you want to try the flame-burning city rewarded by Yuanying ancestor? Burning the city with flames." Upon hearing the name of the seal script, the disciples of the Nianyan sect all showed fear on their faces, even more so than seeing Lu Biao. The two junior sisters quickly flew forward, hugging Xianxia one left and one right, dragging him tightly and saying in unison, "Senior brother, we must not force the flame-burning city, otherwise we will be sucked into a corpse. We are willing to live and die together with senior brother. Count me in. Count me in." The disciples of the Nianyan sect, led by Xianxia, fought fiercely against each other, and the scene was incredibly tragic, frightening the scattered cultivators. It's all about seeking wealth. What's the point of risking one's life for a few spirit stones? The Nianyan school indeed has a profound foundation as rumored. A skinny camel is bigger than a bird, so even if you take out a talisman, it's not surprising. Lao Kai, we only came to assist you because we saw your face, and you almost caused us trouble. Oh my! Suddenly I remembered forgetting to turn off the stove when I went out. My sister-in-law gave birth to a chubby little nephew for me, and I need to hurry home and take a look. I have to go too. The rouge that my teacher asked me to buy, she asked me to bring it to the Liangting in the back mountain during the hour of high. Farewell. Farewell. Originally, dozens of mobs scattered like birds and beasts, afraid of being affected. Blaze the city. Lu Biao was equally surprised in his heart. But the harsh words have already been released, so we have to continue to activate our own life tool, which shines brightly and may strike first at any time. Both sides were using caution, and the scene froze for a moment. Cough. 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 An old cough came from the mountaintop. The voice was hoarse and deep, as if forcefully pulling a leaking bellows. With every cough, the golden light of the magical tool in Lu Biao's hand dimmed a bit. With the last cough, the golden light completely disappeared. The color of the magic weapon is dim and almost iron, and it is almost thrown away due to intense vibration. Building a solid foundation. It's an old dog from the Nianyan sect. Lu Biao secretly complained to himself. The old leader has limited time, but building a solid foundation and achieving full cultivation is not difficult. Before dying, he wants to take a few people with him. Humph, Qiyun sect still needs to respect it. Kid, today is your lucky day. I'll show my respect to the old master and not have the same understanding as you, the younger generation. Lu Biao took advantage of the situation and put away his magical tools to prevent his face from falling to the ground. After brushing his sleeves, he retreated to a safe place and turned around fiercely, saying, Even if it's really a high-level talisman seal script, how much power can you exert by practicing qi in the book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com. The spirit fish are enough to repay their debts, and the 23rd level spirit stones owed to me by the Black Sands sect have not been settled yet. How long can the old master continue to protect you? In a year, I will personally visit the door. If I don't get the spirit stones, I will destroy your entire family. When he goes far away, Zhao Shan River. Silly, haven't you been intimidated yet? Senior brother, you are really amazing. The enemy retreated, and the junior brothers and sisters gathered in admiration. Zhao Shanhe put away his seal script and patted the head of his junior sister as a reward. There are 2 junior sisters, one on the left and one on the right. Qingxi on the left is 13 or 14 years old and has a cute and lively personality. Unlike Qingxi's personality, Eugene on the right is introverted and early-witted, which is already difficult for her to cooperate with her exaggerated performance. Eugene looked into Zhao Shanhe's eyes and asked seriously, "Is that talisman seal really that powerful?" "Guess what?" Zhao Shanhe smiled and didn't answer directly. "How powerful is the flame-burning city?" Zhao Shanhe will never tell anyone the answer. The key to establishing deterrence is that only one can control the bottom card and bottom line. Qingxi answered for his senior brother, "Hehe, it must be fake. Our senior brother had us rehearse so many times before, and as long as he pulled out the talisman seal, we would stop him desperately, specifically to scare the bad guys." A group of qi cultivation forces dared to besiege the mountain, and Zhao Shanhe knows without hesitation that there must be someone behind him who supports him. As expected, he is a black sand gate. 1 pull, 2 strikes, 3 threats, and 4 shakes are all Zhao Shanhe's strategies. Backed by the Nianyan sect and supported by a master who built a solid foundation, Zhao Shanhe didn't mind spending more time with them. However, as Lu Biao said, how long can master still protect the Nianyan sect? Chapter 3. Dongshi Imitation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 20 years ago, Zhao Shanhe was abandoned by his parents on the roadside shortly after his birth. When the soul was about to completely dissipate, it was taken over by the soul from Earth until it was discovered by a passing Taoist. The Taoist turned a blind eye and left directly, causing Zhao Shanhe to be so anxious that he cursed in his heart. In no time, he was seen turning back and picking up the baby in swaddling clothes, saying, "It's just that we met once, which is also considered fate. There are mountains and water here, so I'll call you Zhao Shanhe in the future." This somewhat unreliable cultivator was later Zhao Shanhe's master, Zhao Zongzi, the leader of the Nianyan sect. Zhao Zongzi was born in Qianzong after the southward migration. At the age of 19, he successfully practiced qi, broke through the foundation at the age of 20, and won the top spot in the sect competition, surpassing fellow cultivators at the same time. He was immediately in the limelight and amazed countless young female cultivators. Due to its high popularity, it was feared by hostile forces. During a training trip, he was secretly targeted by someone as an assassin and fought to the death, finally regaining his life. Unfortunately, the foundation of the Tao was destroyed, and there is no hope of forming a pill from then on. These are all old stories from 100 years ago. From a genius to a useless person, the master became disheartened. He couldn't bear the huge psychological gap, so after recovering from his injuries, he silently left southern Xinjiang and headed north to the old land of his sect, which was thousands of miles away, where he became the head of the Nianyan sect. To be fair, early masters cannot be considered qualified leaders. He comes from the Yuaning sect and naturally has a very high vision. He doesn't like the dull disciples in the remote areas, so he works as a hands-off shopkeeper all year round. The entire sect, like him, has no vitality or future. That is to say, with the reputation of guarding the old territory of the Qian sect, the general forces cannot provoke the Yuaning sect behind this family, so there is no risk of annihilating the sect. Master spent most of his time practicing in seclusion and spent nearly 100 years barely building a complete foundation, touching the ceiling of his practice. Personal misfortune turned out to be a blessing for the sect, and after the lack of progress in cultivation, the master began to care about the affairs of the sect. He recruited a group of disciples with decent talents and personally guided their cultivation, gradually giving rise to the revival of the Nianyan sect. It was also fortunate that Xianxia met his master during this period and was able to be saved. If we leave our former master behind and abandon the baby on the roadside, what do I do? Why should I be involved in this cause and effect? Unfortunately, the good times didn't last long. In his later years, Master was addicted to the technique of pushing and spreading, and his body was deteriorating. Now, he had a withered and lifeless appearance. At present, there is only one foundation building cultivator in the Nianyan sect, and there are about 10 Qi training kittens below the leader, all relying on this big tree to shelter from wind and rain. Once Master dies, the sect is likely to fall apart in the blink of an eye. If the tree is moved to death and the person is moved to life, nourishment is definitely necessary. It's just that my master has shown me the kindness of giving me life and education, and I can't express my thoughts when I leave. The sect's income has already been resolved, and it's too difficult to find longevity pills. After proving the value of the fish, the Nianyan sect exerted all their strength and quickly expanded and renovated the hidden river within 3 days. Choose a good day to open the pond and forage for seedlings. Outside the palm gate, more than 10 cultivators from the Nianyan sect were present. A temporary altar was built at the entrance of the hidden river. Above the incense table, the offerings are common ordinary fruits. The Nianyan sect has been unable to afford to purchase spiritual fruits for many years. Wine is actually spirit wine. The first grade and lower grade spirit wine brewed by Xianxia is blackthorn. The layout is very simple, highlighting the importance of saving, and the process has also been simplified. The chief priest was Zhao Lao, who was honored by the ceremony, wearing the faded robe that was only used in important occasions. Purify water, clean towels, apply candles, and incense. After a simple and necessary process, the ceremony entered its climax, and the knowledgeable disciples began to hold their mouths and laugh. I saw Zhao Lao stretching his arms and tears in his eyes, facing the south where Qian's sect was located. He knelt down with a thud and sang excitedly and solemnly. In the past, my ancestors used to plow the fire with knives. Cutting through thorns and thorns, enduring 100 generations of wind and frost, struggling through hardships, the fragrance of virtue and industry, only by acquiring an inch of land can we gather the people to form a hometown. Do not disrespect your descendants, prepare a thin soup. Greet my ancestors and bless me with the cultivation of mulberry trees. Rice and beans are everywhere, and fish and lotus roots fill the pond. The wind and rain are favorable, and the clan's fortune is long. After reciting with full emotions, Zhao Lao stood up and grabbed his sleeve, dipping his tears into the corners of his eyes. Xianxia couldn't help but laugh. Zhao Lao's appearance reminded him of the class representative who read the text with emotion in his past life. Zhao's name is Zhao Yangkai, and he is a legitimate branch of the Zhao family of the Nianyan faction. He has an unusual obsession with revitalizing the Zhao family. I don't know where he pieced together a few sour words from during the Confucian ancestral worship ceremony, forgetting that his ancestors were disciples of Orthodox Taoism. After a hasty sacrificial ceremony, Zhao respectfully poured 1,000 water flower fish species into the underground river. Senior brothers and sisters were eagerly observing the swimming of fish by the river, with a glimmer of hope in their eyes. Taking advantage of the crowd, Zhao Yangkai earnestly advised. I have passed down a family of thousands of gold, but only 3 generations. With one skill, I am not worried about hunger. After today, I have another hereditary foundation in the Nianyan sect. The asking for fish and seedling cultivation method has been included in the core secret of the Nianyan sect, and no one is allowed to disclose it. He looked around for a week, and finally his gaze fell on Zhao Shanhe. He felt relieved and said, "I hope you can all take Shanhe as an example, and then the sect will prosper." Can sects thrive? Zhao Shanhe remained noncommittal. Crossers are all enemies of sections. Not to mention anything else, since I started learning, the Nyenyen sect has been celebrating the Chinese New Year with Wang Shower, and every year is not as good as before. The pool opening ceremony ended and everyone dispersed. Zhao Shanhe quietly returned to the underground river, entered a small pool on one side of the river, opened the restriction, and revealed two slender and fierce fish. First-order spirit beasts, crocodiles, sparrows, and eels. This is the second type of spiritual beast cultivated by Zhao Shanhe according to the techniques in the Book of Wealth. To let outsiders know, Zhao Shanhe not only broke through the judgment of the powerful beast gate and cultivated a first-order spirit beast, but also cultivated two at once. It is feared that the entire old land of Qiyun will fall into madness. Zhao Shanhe meditated by the pool with his eyes closed and focused, using his mind to open the magical scripture in his mind. The overall outline of the book is divided into three parts: spirit beasts, spirit plants, spirit materials, and 100 skills. Opening the chapter on spiritual beasts, it can be further divided into aquatic spiritual beasts, terrestrial spiritual beasts, flying spiritual beasts, and special spiritual beasts. Both spiritual plants and spiritual materials have similar classifications. All kinds of spiritual objects are currently only available at first level. Zhao Shanhe can easily find the corresponding content in his mind for any first-order spiritual plant beast with a name or surname, including its characteristics, habits, and breeding methods. At the same time, in the 100 Techniques section, there are techniques such as cultivation, seedling cultivation, fertilization, soil moisture preservation, and breeding, as well as various deep processing techniques for agricultural and sideline products. The most powerful and core among them is Xiangdi Shu, also known as Kanyu. By mastering the technique of physiognomy, one can easily determine which type of spiritual plant is suitable for planting in a spiritual field based on basic conditions such as spiritual power, light, soil quality, moisture, and temperature. On the contrary, it can actively transform the corresponding environment and promote growth and increase yield through plant habits. With this skill alone, Zhao Shanhe could easily find a sect to serve as a guest, without worrying about food. However, being too saintly in front of others can easily reveal secrets. According to the Book of Wealth, crocodile finches and eels cannot be consumed, but they have special uses. Crocodile eels are naturally fierce and can be used as water-fighting animals. It can also extract toxins for toxin production and has economic value. But the disadvantage is that the water area where crocodiles and eels are raised makes it difficult for other fish to survive. Zhao Shanhe put 2 crocodile eels, one male and one female, into a bucket and said with a wicked smile, "The Getting Rich project has been completed, it's time for a little bit of negative impact." In the hour of Yin, Half Moon Lake in Dayu Square. Before dawn, Kai Beiyu woke up early, dressed in brocade under the care of a maid, and walked out of the house in the dark. Elderly people don't sleep much and it has become a habit to circle around Banyue Lake a few times in the early morning every day. The Kai family has a family heirloom of the Genie Fishing Classic. Zhaozhuiyuan.com discusses how to improve the pond foundation to increase fish production. It is not a cultivation method, but it is very beneficial for raising spiritual fish. It is precisely through this ancestral craft that the Kai family was able to manage Banyue Lake and raise fine-scale red carp for black shaman. The family is thriving and envious of others, but the head of the Kai family has his own troubles. There is a craft that has the advantage of not being hungry, but ultimately it is placed under someone else's protection and cannot be free. He is already 80 years old, with only 4 levels of cultivation for Qi cultivation, and there is no hope on the road. Fortunately, with the blessing of heaven, there were 3 cultivators in the Kai family's generation who were eager to find an independent spiritual land and spread the family's branches and leaves. So when Lu Biao, the sixth in command, approached him and urged him to incite the creditors of the Nianyan sect to cause trouble, promising to give his family an independent spiritual land in the future, Kai Beiyu agreed immediately. But the results were not ideal. After losing 6 heads of the household, I didn't mention a hidden gem, and I also followed suit, feeling extremely depressed. Kai Beiyu has been raising fish for his whole life, and his most proud work is the fine-scaled red carp. He also struggled when he was young, importing fish species from the outside world with great force, but unfortunately none of them could adapt to the climate of the Sinai Desert. It was he who spent a lot of money to hire a cultivator from the Imperial Beast Gate. The expert, after exploration, asserted that this area does not have an environment for growing first-order spirit fish. As fate had it, Kai Beiyu had to give up. A few days ago, I witnessed with my own eyes that Xianxia had cultivated a first-class spirit fish, and that dusty entrepreneurial heart began to stir up again. If I also get a true spirit fish. Sigh. Kai Beiyu let out a heavy sigh. Why do you always have such unrealistic fantasies when you're already quite old? Chapter 4. Old Man with No Return. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the early morning, Xianxia quietly descended the mountain. He used facial contouring techniques to change his originally youthful and handsome appearance into an old face. Under the disguise of a hunter with innate talent, everyone's demeanor have changed, resembling an old mountain traveler who constantly searches for treasures in the mountains. The technique of restraining oneself is a common practice that many cultivators know and can easily be seen through. Hunter disguise is one of Xianxia's innate talents, which can solidify and repair the details of the concealment technique, making it extremely powerful and exquisite. The combination of the two makes it difficult for foundation-building cultivators to explore reality and emptiness, which has been certified by their master. Ready, Xianxia set up a bamboo paper kite and flew towards the direction of Dayufang to the west. The Lingzhu Ziyuan is only a first-level lower-level item, and its speed is not fast, but it is already the only flying magic tool he could handle before. The reason why he said it earlier was because after killing Scarface, Xianxia obtained a faster first-class snail fruit flying shuttle from his storage bag. Unfortunately, his personal traces were too obvious and it was inconvenient to take it out when hiding his identity. There are not many spiritual stones in the Scarface storage bag, only dozens of second-level and hundreds of first-level spiritual stones. However, there are many kinds of stolen items, even uncommon second-level materials. All in all, it is worth as much as 200 second-order spirit stones. Scarface has done many evil deeds, it must be some unjust wealth. I deserve this huge sum of money for avenging the bitter master with my scarred face. Xianxia picked out snail fruit flying shuttles and useful talismans for personal use, leaving a small portion of miscellaneous items to enrich the sect's treasury. The remaining reserves will be sold further in the future. Scarface is killed by oneself alone, and the loot obtained is naturally at one's own disposal. The Nianyan sect returned to poverty from poverty, but the rewards and punishments were clear. There had never been any disgusting incidents such as unfair treatment or constraints from fellow disciples, otherwise Xianxia would have left long ago. Dayafang is located on an oasis deep in the desert, built around an important water source, Banua Lake, and is an important city of cultivation in the Sinai Desert. Dayafang and Banua Lake were originally the industries of 7 indigenous sects led by the Nianyan sect. Decades ago, the Black Sand sect, which came from outside, forcibly occupied Dayafang. The Nianyan sect was defeated by the Black Sand sect, unable to protect important neighborhoods and markets. Its sphere of influence shrank back to the sect's main mountain, marking the beginning of the decline of the Nianyan sect. Of course, it was also the beginning of the decline of Dayufang. Dayufang was originally a commercial center in the Sinai Desert. When the 7 families were operating together, they often organized various celebration activities, which was extremely popular. The origin of Black Shaman is mysterious, consisting of a group of villains. I only know how to fight and kill, but I don't know how to manage. Now the business in the neighborhood is half dead, and the commercial tax is only 70% of its peak period. All other income comes from selling fine-scale red carp and renting a second-level high-quality Shuzhen cave by the lake for half a month. At noon, an old mountain guest carrying a wooden barrel walked into the best tavern in the neighborhood, Koi Lu, with his head raised. The old mountain guest found a spacious place by the window to sit down, placed the wooden bucket under the table, but kept his left hand on the lifting beam. What about running errands? Are you intentionally neglecting me? Just as he sat down, the old mountain guest slapped the table with his right hand, scolding loudly and confidently. Here we are, there are too many people to take care of the meal. If the immortal forgives us, it will be great. The mortal servants of the tavern hurried over. Jinli Restaurant is a restaurant owned by the Kai family, and its signature dish is naturally fresh and fine-scaled red carp. The old mountain guest pointed to the fish pond and said, "Take out a thin-scaled red carp, 5 pounds facing up. Steam the fish head, sprinkle chopped scallions and ginger on top of the pot, and stir-fry with hot oil with Sichuan pepper to enhance the aroma. Chop the fish body into pieces, hang the batter, and fry until golden brown. Remember to return to the pot and fry it again. If it's not crispy, I won't give the spirit stone. Just braise the fish tail briefly, and make sure the soup is thickened. Notify the kitchen to stir-fry 2 seasonal vegetables first, and serve them on the table as wine for the master." "Okay, please wait a moment." The runner promised verbally, but harbored contempt in his heart. What a hammer! Xianxia are all hard-working cultivators who go into the mountains to dig treasures, and they are usually reluctant to eat and drink. This person is so high-profile, he must have been transported into the mountains by dog poop and encountered a large cargo. Watching him protect tightly, most of the harvest falls into the wooden barrel that never leaves his hand. The dishes were gradually added, and the fine-scaled red carp was truly a specialty of Dayufang. The old mountain guest quickly swept away all the dishes on the table. After the guest finished their meal, the restaurant owner approached and chatted. "My guest, you are really a foodie and knowledgeable. It's average. You are too modest. I mean like a fish." Fish. The shopkeeper's face suddenly became unpredictable. If you hit someone, don't hit your face. The fine-scaled red carp is the signature face of the store. My guest is joking. This fine-scaled red carp is a specialty and delicious dish of the Sinai Desert. It's the only scorpion cake in our fish shop. The old mountain guest broke a sharp thorn from the fishbone and leisurely picked his teeth. Under the influence of fame, it's actually hard to match. After all, it's just a fake spirit beast, praised by the unseen bumpkin. It used to be the only one, but it may not happen in the future. The shopkeeper was extremely angry and laughed back. "I heard from you that I found a treasure. Can you let me open my eyes?" The old mountain guest staggered the lid of the bucket and boasted proudly, "You see, this is the real first-level spirit fish. Its flesh is fresh and tender, with rich spiritual energy, and it is more than 100 times stronger than your pseudo-spirit beast." After the guest checked out and left, the shopkeeper signaled to the counter. The waiter understood. One person was far away accompanied by an old mountain guest, while the other ran to the owner's mansion through the back door to report the news. The old mountain guest erected a wooden plaque at the local market selling first-order spirit fish and placed the bucket containing the fish in front of him. The saying that there is no real spirit fish in the Sinai Desert has deeply rooted in people's hearts. Those who sell under the banner of spirit fish are mostly fake spirit fish, with a strong fishy smell and limited spiritual power. Throughout the afternoon, no one was interested in the old mountain guest's booth. In the evening, the old mountain guest plans to close the stall. As he stood up, an old man in brocade walked on the street. Upon hearing the news that there was a first-order spirit fish for sale in Dayufang, Kai Beiyu initially did not believe it and secretly observed nearby for a long time before coming forward to inquire. What kind of fish is this? How come I've never seen it before? Lao Shan Kudao. Crocodile eel. Kai Beiyu thought to himself, it's indeed a bumpkin. With "Ask the fish" Zhu Yu in front, Kai Beiyu now finds any fish name vulgar and unbearable. How did it sell? The old mountain guest replied. A pair of male and female, 102nd tier spirit stones. Hiss. Kai Beiyu took a deep breath. So expensive. An ordinary first-order spirit fish can only have a few first-order spirit stones at most. What I'm selling is not fish, it's a source of income. This fish has a diverse diet and is easy to feed. It can grow to over 8 feet and has a strong spiritual energy. You don't have to worry about it when you bring it back to the water, and I guarantee it will burst into the pond in a year. I'm just a bachelor and there's no place to raise it. Otherwise, I won't fake the treasure passed down to anyone. Kai Beiyu was skeptical and took out 102nd order spirit stones to hand over to the old mountain guest. Unable to wait to return home, I used a fishing net to circle a small area of water in Banua Lake and found a book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com to raise new spirit fish separately. A few months later, in the early morning, Kai Beiyu was walking at Banua Lake as usual when he suddenly felt the palpitations. In the darkness, it seems that something is coveting oneself in the dark. Looking back and exploring, there was no clue. Is it underwater? Looking at the deep and pitch-black surface of the lake, Kai Beiyu murmured. He hurried home, feeling restless for several days. At the same time, fishermen who often come to the lake to fish have reported a rapid decrease in the number of fine-scaled red carp recently. Once, only one fish head was caught and its lower body was bitten off by a fierce underwater beast. A dead fish in the mouth, this is not a good omen. As the news spread, the number of fishermen coming here became increasingly scarce. Kai Beiyu ordered people to use the marking and release method to conduct a simple inventory, and found that the fine-scaled red carp in the lake had actually decreased by 30%. Upon inspection, it was discovered that the fishing net used for isolation had already broken a large hole, and the previously captive strange fish had entered Half Moon Lake. He thought he had inherited a family heirloom, but to his surprise, he led a wolf into the house. The crocodile, sparrow, and eel are extremely cunning. Kai Beiyu tried his best to use his personal trust, but only saw a fleeting fish shadow. He attempted to attack, but the fish had thick scales and suffered minor injuries before diving into the water, making it difficult to see any trace afterwards. Half Moon Lake and fine-scale red carp are industries of Heisha men, and they are only responsible for management. The crocodile, sparrow, and eel were secretly raised by oneself. At this time, reporting to Black Shaman is like a dead end. Just as Kai Beiyu was at a loss, he remembered someone. That person is young and cultivates a first-order spirit fish on his own. He kills the notorious culprit while chatting and laughing, and dares to compete with Lu Biao in the middle of his chi training. Perhaps he could have some extraordinary means. Chapter 5. Creditors Seeking Home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The crocodile eel is a fish for Kai Beiyu, but it is only a bait for Zhao Shanhe. Kai Beiyu is the fish he wants to fish for. The fish has already bitten the hook, and the struggle is transmitted to Zhao Shanhe's hands, which may take several months. Our own spirit fish will soon be on the market, and the only possible competitive one is the fine-scaled red carp from Banua Lake. Making a trap for Kai Beiyu is not only to deceive a few spiritual stones, but also to prevent the crocodile, sparrow, eel, and fine-scale red carp from being affected. It is to clear out competitors in advance and free up the market for the fish. Even if Kai Beiyu doesn't buy the crocodiles, sparrows, and eels, Zhao Shanhe will still release them to Banua Lake. Releasing animals is a good thing, isn't it? Much better than knocking on electronic wooden fish. At this point, Xianxia couldn't help but be overjoyed and made a fierce note on his merit book. My merits are immeasurable, and I can't help but admire them. I am truly a great kind-hearted person. After leaving Dayufang that day, Xianxia returned to the mountain overnight with 100 second-order spirit stones. The next day, Xianxia went to his senior brother Zhao Pu's room and asked him to help make a set of fishing gear. Senior brother Zhao Pu is a descendant of the first-generation leader of the Nianyan sect. He holds a superior position in the Zhao family and is regarded as the hope of the family. He has a moderate stature, an ordinary appearance, a square Chinese character face, and slightly black and rough skin. On weekdays, I wear cloth clothes with no fairy-like demeanor, but rather like a farmer. The main mountain of the Nianyan sect has a place of stone and earth fire, which can forge magical tools. With the decline of sects in recent years, they can no longer afford full-time craftsmen, and the forging techniques are gradually lost. Only Zhao Pu, who carries the fire spirit root, can forge some simple small items. Xianxia put forward the request. I need a set of fishing gear, and the bait needs to be made of refined red iron, with a shape similar to that of a fine-scale red carp. The fish body is divided into sections and connected by a movable shaft, which can twist left and right, and the fishing hook is hidden under the belly. The fishing rod is made of elastic material, about 5 feet long, thin in the front and thick in the back, and a pulley is installed on the handle to collect the line. Zhao Pu didn't like to talk much and didn't ask why such a strange thing was made. He immediately searched for materials and began forging. Junior brother has been smart since childhood, so he must have his own reasons for what he does. Then Xianxia went to find the second senior sister Zhao Pei. Zhao Pei is not tall, but his figure is very symmetrical, with a temperament that surpasses his height. The demeanor is dignified and atmospheric, with a pair of bright and lively red phoenix eyes. She, like Xianxia, was also an orphan adopted by her master. There are no relatives inside the door, and everything can only be done by oneself. I have developed a bold personality since childhood. Senior sister, I want a type of silk thread that is transparent, sturdy, resistant to pulling, and can withstand at least 1,000 pounds of impact. Zhao Pei said with white eyes. You're just trying to deceive me with the Tianluo spider silk. Just say no. What kind of bad water are you holding back, kid? Zhaoshan River. Hee, this time it's a good thing. I'll use it for a few days and return it to you after using it. Zhao Pei opened his palm and seemed to be begging for something. Although you are so handsome, junior brother, the rules cannot be broken. I understand, 100 first-order spirit stones. I just made a small profit recently, and I'll pay the money first. When I use spider silk, I'll come to you for it. Senior sister carefully counted the spirit stones handed over by Xianxia and smiled as she put them in her purse. If I had known my junior brother was so wealthy, I would have ordered more. Zhao Pei kept her mouth shut and kept the word money, but Xianxia knew that she was not a greedy person. Senior sister secretly runs a charity hall in the common gathering area below the mountain, supporting orphans with poor backgrounds like her, and there are many ways to spend money. Then Xianxia found Guanrongji, the spiritual cultivation practitioner and alchemy practitioner of the Nianyan sect. Guanrongji's identity is quite awkward. He was originally a casual cultivator who drifted to the realm of Nianyan and became a Taoist couple with the Zhao family's legitimate female cultivator. He can be considered half of the Son. Law of the Nianyan sect. After the Taoist couple failed to build the foundation and passed away, he chose to continue staying in the Nianyan sect. Due to his advanced age, he is carefree and mainly focuses on refining pills, collecting herbs, and growing flowers and grass. Guan Lao, I want a simple poison. The requirements are not high. Firstly, it is colorless and odorless. Secondly, it is insoluble in water. Thirdly, it can take effect in blood. Fourthly, it should not be fatal. Stop and stop. With so many demands, why don't you go to heaven? No. Guan Lao was originally watering the flowers, but when he heard Zhao Shanha's request, he was so angry that water spilled on the outside of the flower pot and refused without lifting his head. He, you must have a solution. That's settled. I'll leave 2 jars of black thorn wine for you behind my master's back. At least 3 jars, take them in half a month, go away. It's a deal. After arranging everything, Zhao Shanha began to practice in seclusion. Although the entry is slow, after many years of crossing, Zhao Shanha has never had a moment of slackness. The road is difficult, and one day one dies. It is not expected to be completed quickly, but we hope to gain something in the future. 2 months later, the residence of the disciples of the Nianyan sect. Zhao Shanha meditates cross-legged, crossing his fingers in his lower abdomen and spreading his palms upwards. A mischievous little crocodile lizard climbed onto his palm and then climbed up to his shoulder along the wrist resting on his knee. Zhao Shanha opened his eyes, regulated his breathing, and his spiritual energy ran along the meridians for a week, but he saw that his cultivation had not advanced at all. He took off the crocodile lizard from his shoulder, gently stroked its back with his fingertips, and muttered to himself. Still unable to break through the 6th level of qi cultivation, as it reached its limit. Dong! 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 A crisp knocking sounded at the door. Are you here? Zhao Shanha smiled as everything was planned. He waved his hand briefly and the wooden door opened inward. The sunlight shone in, and tiny dust stirred up slightly in the light. After several days without strong light, Zhao Shanha raised his hand to cover his eyes and saw his junior sister Qingxi bouncing in through his fingers. Qingxi wore 2 black and long ponytails tied to her little head, and was dressed in a black-blue skirt with a white border embroidered on the cuffs and hem. Standing in the light and shadow, she was very cute. Senior brother, the bad old man you drove away last time has come to worship the mountain again. Let's go meet him. Zhao Shanha followed Qingxi to the main hall and saw Zhao Lao welcoming guests. The head of the Kai family and his eldest son were sitting in the main hall, with gifts placed beside them. Seeing Zhao Shanha enter the hall, he stood up in unison. Zhao Shanha chuckled and said, "What is the matter with Master Kai? The spirit stone I owe you has not yet expired." Kai Beiyu was extremely embarrassed. "I didn't mention my outstanding debts in advance. My Kai family is currently facing difficulties and is seeking your help." Then Master Kai truthfully reported the situation and asked Zhao Shanha to take action to catch the crocodile and eel. His words were full of truth and falsehood, concealing the source of crocodiles, sparrows, and eels, only suggesting that it may have been caused by Buddhist believers releasing them. Zhaoshuyuan.com. After hearing this, Zhao Shanha exclaimed with indignation. "Oh my, releasing this kind of ferocious beast of unknown origin is really not something." Yes, yes. Kai Beiyu's face echoed with a gloomy and uncertain tone. Zhao Shanha was filled with righteous indignation, speaking from the ecological balance of the region to the true merits and righteousness of Buddhism. After spraying the people who were released recklessly for a long time, he humbly said, "The Kai family is an aristocratic family of fish farming, and the leader of the Kai family is the leader of the fish farming industry in the Sinai Desert. How can you take this responsibility if you are not as capable as you?" Kai Beiyu lowered his posture. "Your sect can cultivate a first-order spirit fish, overturning the powerful judgment of the Imperial Beast sect. My understanding of the habits of spirit fish is already above mine, and there must be a wonderful method." Zhao Shanha smiled and said, "There is a way out, just drain the water from Banua Lake. Once and for all, keep it safe and there are no fish caught in the net. This way, the 6 leaders will kill me." Kai Beiyu shook his head and said, "Is there any other way?" Zhao Shanha answered seriously, "Yes, catch it up." Kai Beiyu's son beside him finally couldn't help but take a step forward. You're just talking nonsense. So many fishing experts in Dayufang are at a loss. My first order Lingma fishing net has been torn open by strange fish and slipped away. How could I catch it? Zhao Shanhe waved his hand and affirmed. Don't blame the uneven road for not being a good person. No matter how strange it is, it's a fish. If it's a fish, you can fish. Kai Beiyu's son ignored Zhao Shanhe and turned to his father, saying. Father, don't beg him anymore. I think he's deliberately making things difficult for you. Bold. There's no room for you to interrupt. Kai Beiyu scolded his son and bowed again, respectfully inviting Zhao Shanhe to take action. Chapter 6. Writing Education into Ethnic Training. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Seeing Kai Beiyu's sincere attitude, Zhao Shanhe couldn't help but wonder. I can help you catch the fish, but there are 3 conditions. Seeing Zhao Shanhe finally let go, Kai Beiyu also breathed a sigh of relief. Dare not comply with orders. Firstly, you can't stand by while I'm fishing. Secondly, the fish I catch belong to me. Thirdly, let me see the sincerity of your Kai family. The first 2 conditions are easy to say. As for sincerity, the Nyenyen sect owes me 200 second-order spirit stones from the Kai family. If Brother Zhao is willing to take action this time, I will definitely waive the debt of the Nyenyen sect. Zhao Shanhe looked at Kai Beiyu with a smile and said meaningfully. Debt belongs to a sect. Kai Beiyu was clear in his heart and realized that he was not thoughtful enough. At the same time, he sighed, young people nowadays have 2 wild paths, isn't this all against people? He glanced at Zhao Lao, who was observing his nose and heart, and lowered his voice, saying. In addition to debt relief, there are also 100 second-level spirit stones presented separately as your personal reward. Sure, but I need to replace it with a 3rd-level spirit stone. Zhao Shanhe has raised the price again. In the impoverished land of the Sinai Desert, the main circulation is low-level spirit stones. Except for bulk trading, spiritual stones of level 3 or higher are generally not used. It usually takes 100 second-level spirit stones to exchange for a 3rd-level spirit stone, but here it requires around 105. Kai Beiyu gritted his teeth and said. I didn't bring the 3rd-level spirit stone with me, I'll give it to you when I get back. I only spent 100 second-order spirit stones to buy crocodile eels, and in order to get rid of them, I have to pay 3 times more. Even though the Kai family has been practicing immortality for 100 years, they also feel flesh pain. The goal has been achieved, Zhao Shanhe firmly said. Master Kai is grand. Within 3 days, crocodiles, sparrows, and eels will be eliminated. After leaving the Nyenyen sect, Kai Beiyu's son asked in confusion. Our family has some connections outside the mountain, and even with some effort, we can invite cultivators who specialize in water beasts to help us. Killing monster fish is not something that must be done by his surname Zhao. Why are you treating Zhao Shanhe like this? Kai Beiyu continued his son's unfinished words and said, so low, so patient, so compromise. The son avoided his father's stern gaze and did not answer. Kai Beiyu looked at his son who was not up to par and said with a slight annoyance. How many times have I taught you, be kind to others? Be kind to others. Previously, I was driven by greed and violated my principles of dealing with things, leading the way and surrounding the mountain. I was already ignorant of the Nyenyen sect, but now I can take this opportunity to repair my relationship and turn the page on this matter. Similarly, spending money on hiring people, spending it on Nyenyen sect can uncover an old grudge, but spending it outside requires building new relationships. Which is more important? Besides, truly talented people deserve respect wherever they go. Forming good relationships means that one day they may be useful. Looking at his son's still clueless and incomprehensible appearance, Kai Beiyu's heart was haggard and he continued. Dakuan, I gave you this name as my father because I have known the vastness of heaven and earth and still cherish the greenery of plants and trees. I hope you can face the vast world with humility and awe. However, the effect is not ideal now. As a father, I only hope that you can get along with people in the future, regardless of their status. Always remember. Be kind to others. Have you remembered? Kai Dakuan nodded fiercely, like a chicken pecking at rice. The next day, Zhao Shanhe arrived at Daifang as agreed. After entering the workshop, he bought a carriage carrying a huge bathtub for bathing. The outer part of the tub was tightly wrapped with 3 layers of iron sheet, which was incredibly sturdy. Zhao Shanhe drove to Banyue Lake and saw that it had lost its former vitality, like a dead pool, with hidden dangers underwater. Half Moon Lake is shaped like a crescent moon, narrow and elongated from north to south. To the west is a second-level top-grade cave surrounded by a lake, used for external rent, and to the east are the fishing platform and fishing port. The fishing platform is sparsely populated and the situation is not as good as before, with only an old fisherman wearing a raincoat persisting. As Zhao Shanhe drove his carriage by, the old man glanced at him and saw him playing with a strange metal bait. He smiled and said, "You young man, how could a foolish fish eat iron plates?" Zhao Shanhe smiled and said, "Those who wish will take the bait." Due to the small number of people, finding a good fishing spot is not difficult. Zhao Shanhe skillfully controlled the bait, and soon the fishing rod shook violently. Got hooked. He picked and pulled the rod in an orderly manner, and soon it subsided underwater. Zhao Shanhe knew that the medicine formulated by Guan Lao had played a role. At the end of the season, it was indeed a crocodile and an eel. This guy has been eating a buffet at Banyue Lake for over 2 months and has grown to 3 feet in length. He put the fish into the bathtub, drugged the hook, and continued fishing. The old man in the distance was busy for a while, but he couldn't catch anything except for branches, obscene clothes, and a big bastard. The old man walked up to Zhao Shanhe and complained. "Today is really wicked, kid. How did you gain?" Zhao Shanhe didn't look up and pointed to the bathtub on the carriage. "There isn't much fish, just a small one." The old man was skeptical, so he lifted the lid of the bucket and saw a 3-foot-long crocodile eel, which startled his chin. As he spoke, the fishing rod of Zhao Shanhe shook violently, and another fish hooked on it, even worse than the one in the basin, 4 feet long. Zhao Shanhe wrestled with crocodiles, sparrows, and eels while greeting. "Sir, how do you think my iron plate works? Don't be fooled, come and give me a hand." "How unreasonable." The old fisherman angrily finished fishing and left. This person has a bit of a temper. Who said fishing is for self-cultivation and self-cultivation? After 2 crocodiles, sparrows, and eels were caught, Zhao Shanhe pulled them to Kai's mansion for Kai Beiyu to verify their true identity. Outside the Kai mansion, Zhao Shanhe came with crocodiles, sparrows, and eels to make arrangements. Kai Beiyu was furious when he saw the culprit. He restrained his emotions and handed the agreed 3rd-level spirit stone to Zhao Shanhe, bowing deeply and saying, "For 80 years, I have been working in seclusion, sitting in a deep well like the sky. But now, when I pluck the clouds and see the bright moon, I know that there are high mountains outside the mountain. Shanhe everyone, I really admire you." The title of the first fish farmer in the Sinai Desert has changed hands since today. Senior Kai is too humble. Zhao Shanhe interrupted him and humbly said, "The value of a husband lies in his liver and gallbladder. How much is it worth fighting for fame? As agricultural workers. Well, our production cultivators should always be down to earth, with a starry sky above our heads, dreams in our hearts, and light in our eyes. We should be willing to sit on the cold bench and work hard. We should strive less for fame and achieve more real results. What good reputation can the first person to raise fish have? You should keep the title of pond master yourself." Xianxia collected the spirit stones and drifted away. Kai Beiyu stood at the door, impressed by the charm of Xianxia, gazing at his distant figure, unable to speak for a long time. Father! Father! Kai Dakuan saw that Kai Beiyu was motionless and anxiously called out to the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Go to my study and bring the book from the desk. Kai Beiyu finally spoke up, but his figure remained motionless. Kai Dakuan hurriedly returned to the mansion, handed over the account book to his father, and said, "Thank you. I have already recorded the loss of 4/3 order spirit stones and 30% of the fine-scale red carp in my account before and after." Kai Beiyu threw the account book in his son's face and cursed. "Bastard! I asked you to take the history of the Kai family and write the teachings of everyone in the mountains and rivers into the clan's teachings." After leaving the workshop from the east gate, Xianxia deliberately turned his carriage a few times and offered a snail fruit shuttle in a deserted place. He moved the bathtub onto the snail fruit shuttle and abandoned the carriage, flying towards the depths of the western desert. The snail fruit shuttle is 1 zhang long and 5 feet wide, equivalent to the capacity of a carriage, and more than enough to accommodate a bathtub. After flying for a whole day, Xianxia rushed to a small courtyard in the center of the desert. The small courtyard stands alone among thousands of miles of yellow sand, in a circular shape, surrounded by wooden fences, with a small single room in the center. Xianxia stopped his shuttle and placed the bathtub outside the courtyard. He took out a cleaning talisman from his storage bag, made it easier, and washed away the sand and dust that had been stained along the way before respectfully saying, "Dr. Hua, I'm coming to see you." After several consecutive calls, someone impatiently answered. "I don't have a doctor here, only a butcher. Which one is that?" A rugged-looking barefoot monk squeezed out of the room. His face was full of flesh, his eyes were like copper bells, his beard was shaky, his hair was disheveled, and his sleep was hazy. Wearing sleeveless animal skin short clothes on the upper body, and simply wrapping a piece of animal skin directly around the lower body. Living in the center of the desert, I don't feel hot and flustered. He is really a strange person. Chapter 7. Fate and Deception. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I once stopped practicing the second level of Qi for many years. 3 years ago, my master Zhao Zongzi brought me here to search for a prescription and medicine. You gave me a crocodile lizard and a book of Secret Techniques of the Strange Generation. Now I have successfully broken through to the 5th level of Qi cultivation. Thank you very much. It belongs to the Qiyun sect. The descendants of the Jingshan ancestor of the Qiyun sect also have some connections. I, Hua too, have been sent to this place for more than 10 years, and only he has seen through my deeds. I remember your fate, but I can only help you here. The mysterious generation secret technique comes from the powerful Qi family outside the realm, and only fragments have been passed down here. It is not easy for me to help you reach the 5th level of Qi cultivation. 3 years ago, your master paid for the spirit stone, and we do not owe each other. You don't need to express gratitude, you go. The man who claimed to be a butcher waved his hand at Xianxia and then lowered his head to crawl back into the house. The man is over 8 feet tall, and compared to his physique, the small room is like a cardboard box that can be opened at any time. There is nothing unusual about the division of cultivation levels in this realm, such as practicing Qi, building foundations, using golden pills, elemental infants, transforming spirits, and practicing emptiness. The Qi cultivation realm is divided into 10 levels, with 3, 6, and 9 levels as the small threshold. The presence or absence of spiritual roots is the key to determining whether one can cultivate. Generally, there are 5 elements of spiritual roots: gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. In addition, there are also mutated spiritual roots such as wind, thunder, ice, light, and dark animal tools. The speed at which a single spiritual root absorbs the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is the fastest, followed by a double spiritual root, and above the 4 spiritual roots are called miscellaneous spiritual roots, which also have the slowest speed. Xianxia is a single spiritual root with excellent cultivation qualifications, and his problem lies in his own destiny. It's not that my destiny is too bad, but that it's too good. Born by nature, it may be any object between heaven and earth, existing in the sea of consciousness of a cultivator. There are various types of destiny that can directly affect the direction of cultivation and the strength of combat effectiveness. Some innate objects such as melting furnaces, alchemy cauldrons, and spiritual plants are obviously more suitable for refining weapons, alchemy, and spiritual cultivation, and should be developed in an auxiliary direction. Some innate weapons, such as weapons and ferocious beasts, are naturally more suitable for combat. Before building the foundation, cultivators cannot see inside and can only refer to and visualize objects that are the same or similar to their own destiny, which is called the same reference. Being accompanied by the same ginseng can not only improve cultivation speed, but also help develop one's own life talent. The original destiny of Xianxia is the 5th-order spirit beast devouring the empty crocodile, but due to the inability to find a shared original destiny reference, the entry is slow and the road is wasted. Swallowing crocodile, the dominant among crocodiles. The dragon head and tiger claws have a long beak and sharp teeth. Scales and armor are like armor, and strength is as strong as a chieftain. Sexual drowsiness, increasing cultivation and breaking boundaries. The main water is dry, causing fog and rain. Specializing in concealment and concealment. Enjoy eating and devour the sky and the earth. Skilled in governing the sky, thinking of 1,000 mountains. Xianxia does not have complete information on the devouring crocodile in his hands, and it is rare to see such spiritual beasts. 3 years ago, due to the stagnation of Xianxia's realm and the inability to break through the second layer of qi cultivation for many years, Master and his beloved disciple went through many twists and turns to find this Huatu in the depths of the desert. With the help of the crocodile lizard and magical techniques gifted by Huatu, Xianxia used a mysterious method to replace the empty devouring crocodile with a crocodile lizard with some commonality. He diligently practiced visualization and was fortunate enough to break through the first threshold of qi cultivation. Due to the similarity in stealth characteristics between crocodile lizards and air-eating crocodiles, Xianxia broke through and also gained insight into the hunter's camouflage talent. In the following 3 years, he successively broke through the 4th and 5th levels of qi cultivation, and now he is stuck at the 2nd threshold of qi cultivation. Thank you for your great kindness, Xianxia. I have no way to repay you. I have been bothering you and would like to offer you a pair of spirit beasts as a gift. Would this be of any use to you? Xianxia lifted the lid of the bathtub, and the medicinal effect had passed. The 2 crocodile eels gradually regained their vitality and angrily rushed against the wall of the bathtub. Spirit beasts. Huatu returned from the room and walked to the wooden barrel. His eyes suddenly lit up, and he was completely drowsy. His eyes widened even wider. Ah! This is... It's actually an extinct crocodile eel that has been extinct for many years. Have you ever heard of it? There is a record in my beast gate, but it shouldn't be. It should have been extinct for hundreds of years. How could it reappear in the world? How did you know that I received this thing? Xianxia did not answer, but asked in reverse. If I guess correctly, are you the life hunter of the royal beast sect? Due to the crucial importance of the same ginseng for cultivation, large sects usually establish their own destiny same ginseng library and organize personnel to collect various rare animals, flowers, plants, or rare objects. The most famous one among them is the Tongshen Hall under the sect of the world's hegemony beast. Tongshentang sends people to capture spiritual beasts outside all year round, known as the Hunter of Life. Although Kai Beiyu's abilities are average, his knowledge in fish farming is still sufficient. Even he has never seen crocodile finches and eels, indicating that crocodile finches and eels are mostly rare spiritual beasts in this world. The life hunters of the Imperial Beast sect will definitely be interested. The butcher nodded as expected and said, "You guessed it well. As a life hunter, I have seen even the rarest objects in my life, and this is the first time that an extinct spirit beast has appeared. Although its rank is low, as a new species that can supplement the beast pool of Wan Beast Mountain, the reward is generally higher. I, Old Hua, have been sent to this shameless Red Cloud Old Land for 10 years. Now that the deadline has expired, my achievements are still a little short. Originally, I could only exchange for the third-level cave usage right that just met the requirements for alchemy. After handing in the crocodile, sparrow, and eel, I am qualified to rent the fourth-level cave. The opportunity for alchemy has increased by a few points, and this is my reward for you." After speaking, Hua Tu threw 10 third-order spiritual stones into Zhao Shanhe. Zhao Shanhe returned all the spirit stones and once again expressed his gratitude. "I'm only here to repay my kindness, without any reward. As long as you can use it, it's not in vain for me to go through all the trouble to obtain this spirit beast. Your master has already paid the reward, and there is no reason to take people and things for nothing anymore. As the pill is about to be formed, we cannot leave a causal hand. Since you are unwilling to accept the spirit stone, let me give you a small gift as compensation." Hua Tu threw a jade plaque to Zhao Shanhe and explained. "By holding this second-level destiny card, you can exchange one second-level item at the Beast Gates One Beast Mountain." Zhao Shanhe took the jade plaque and saw a strange character engraved on the blue one. The top one is a book, and the bottom one is a knock. This character is very strange, whether in past or present life, Zhao Shanhe has never heard of it. After some thought, Zhao Shanhe immediately understood that this strange character was a combination of the two characters, Benming, up and down. Since there are second-order life cards, based on this inference, isn't there also a fifth-order life card that can be exchanged for one's own life? Seeing Zhao Shanhe wandering beyond the sky, the cultivator surnamed Hua sneered. "Don't fantasize, kid. It's not a big deal. Apart from the once-in-a-century exchange of war achievements, there won't be any fifth-level life cards flowing out, not even I've seen them. Zhaoshan River. Is there any other way? For example, if I want to buy it, how many spirit stones do I need? Hua Tudao. The devouring crocodile is too powerful. If you have enough to eat, drink, and sleep, your cultivation will skyrocket. As an adult, you will have the power of a primordial baby. You cannot control it. Crocodiles also have a habit of raising offspring, and each juvenile crocodile has at least one adult crocodile by their side. If the primordial baby cultivator is willing to lend a helping hand, there is a chance to catch a juvenile crocodile. However, how can the help of a primordial baby cultivator be measured by spirit stones? Unless it is a legitimate lineage of a noble family or a sex pride, such treatment can only be obtained. Through Hua Tu's narration, Zhao Shanhe learned that in the early stages of the establishment of this world, there were frequent incidents of crocodile injuries in the East China Sea, and the Confucian ancestor Han, who had transformed into a god, came forward to drive away crocodiles. Han Laozu spoke freely and forced the group of empty-eating crocodiles to migrate thousands of miles south, far away from human gathering places, achieving eternal beauty. It is a great virtue for the fishermen in the coastal areas, but it makes the path of cultivation in Zayashan even more bumpy. In addition, within the Imperial Beast Gate, the Shen family of the East Sea Imperial Beast Gate, which specializes in water-based spiritual beasts, should also have a small amount of breeding. There are only so many clues, far beyond his current level of reach. Is it really impossible to break through the threshold of the 6th level of Qi cultivation? Zhao Shanhe still doesn't give up. What is the most promising way to obtain it? Please point out a clear path, Senior Hua. Hua Tu stared meaningfully at Zhao Shanhe and looked at him for a while, making his hair stand on end. Suddenly, he laughed wickedly and said, "You have a fair and fair appearance, with a fair and tender complexion. Perhaps you have a better chance of getting married. I heard that the female head of the Shen family in the Donghai Imperial Beast Gate has not yet married a Taoist couple. I can't lie down and beg for food anymore." Zhao Shanhe asked tentatively. "How old is the head of the Shen family? What is his appearance like?" Hua Tu is a bit embarrassed. Her appearance is unparalleled. Just because of her age, she should have just passed her 3,000-year-old birthday. What birthday, is that immortal longevity? Zhao Shanhe sighed with a wrung wrist. How difficult it is to cultivate immortality. Chapter 8. Who is not a young genius? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Zhao Shanhe feeling a bit discouraged, Hua Tu empathized and said, "If you are a descendant of a noble family, when you were born, the family would prepare you with the perfect matching tongshan, martial arts, and magic treasures, and various cultivation resources. Ordinary cultivators, on the other hand, always spare no effort to fight for blood. I had already built a perfect foundation many years ago, but because I took a wrong step, I was suppressed and searched for spiritual beasts in this place where spiritual energy was scattered, wasting 10 years. Zhao Shanhe Fuhe Road. Sure enough, without a background, wherever you go, you will only become someone else's food and consumables. 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 Hua Tu murmured absent-mindedly as he suddenly froze and stood in a deserted courtyard in silence for a long time. Zhao Shanhe felt that the aura of the person in front of him was changing, but he couldn't say it. He had a premonition that something important was about to happen. In an instant, Hua Tu woke up from a dream and laughed heartily. Ha! 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 I am born with talent, how can I waste it? If you want to step on the bone salary of Hua Tu and move forward, you need me to weigh the pounds and see if it's good enough. Hua Tu swept away his decadent appearance, his whole demeanor was like a rainbow, like a spirited young swordsman. How many times does it take to stand out among peers to reach the perfect foundation on the main road? Who wasn't a teenage genius back then? He looked at his feet and confidently said to the ground. The 10-year period has arrived, old buddy, it's time to go. As soon as the words fell, there was a rumbling sound at the foot of Zhao Shanhe, and the small courtyard shook. With the courtyard wall as the boundary, there is a giant rock slowly rising under the courtyard, and the yellow sand around the courtyard wall flows downwards along the cracks. A dark, thick, and powerful flesh pillar, covered in green veins, pierced straight out of the sand and bounced up and down a few times. From the top of the meat column, a semi-transparent white mucus sprays out. The giant rock shook the soil on its body like a wet wild dog, revealing its true appearance. Surprisingly, there is a big turtle, and the yard is built on top of his turtle shell. Zhao Shanhe exclaimed in surprise. Is this senior, the second-level spirit beast pagoda rock turtle? Hua Tu couldn't help but praise. You're a poor and remote kid who hasn't been out of town a few times, but you have good eyesight. You know crocodiles, sparrows, and eels, and you can even recognize me, the old buddy Ta Yen turtle. I just enjoy reading a few idle books. Tayin turtle spat out mucus from his mouth, wrapped in large and small glass bottles and jars, containing various desert spirit beasts, which should be Hua Tu's harvest over the years. Hua Tu also put the crocodiles, sparrows, and eels into bottles and jars, collected them, and sent the envoy Ta Yen turtle to carry Zhao Shan River away from the desert. Approaching the vicinity of Dayufang, Zhao Shanhe casually mentioned. Senior Hua, crocodiles and eels were caught from the half-moon lake ahead. Hua Tu was indeed attracted by this news and curiously said. Oh. This is a mature land that has been developed for thousands of years. How could an extinct species suddenly appear? Follow me on the way to explore. Zhao Shanhe came to seek Hua Tu, not only to express gratitude for his kindness, but also to have the intention of making friends and providing strong support to deter Xiao, and to solve external threats for the Nianyan sect. The Royal Beast sect is undoubtedly the dominant sect in this world, and Hua-Tu is also a successful cultivator in building foundations. Follow Hua-Tu to the Daiyufang for a walk, but he can pretend to be a tiger and make the black shaman unable to touch the details and dare not act recklessly. Under the intentional guidance of Zhao Shanhe, Taxi Rock Turtle carried the two of them to Banyu Lake. Outside Daiyufang. Due to the large size of the rock turtle, it is not possible to enter the square through the main entrance. Hua-Tu struck a message to the formation of Daiyufang. "Where is Dao Yu outside?" In an instant, the 6 leaders on duty came out of the workshop to inquire. Hua-Tu stepped forward and said, "The Royal Beast Gate is in operation and needs to go to the lake to beg for a drink from my companion beast. Please make it convenient and temporarily close the main formation." Beast Gate. These 3 words naturally carry great weight. The 6 leaders dare not neglect, but speak with caution. The master of the Imperial Beast Gate has come here, and the Black Sand Gate is shining brightly. Please wait a moment, and I will have someone fetch a few buckets of water. Hua-Tu Dao. A few barrels is not enough. I haven't dripped water for 10 years, but we need to enter the workshop and drink some lake water. The entry of such a large spirit beast into the workshop requires the closure of the mountain protection formation, which is related to the fundamental issues of the Black Sand Gate and the Big Fish Workshop. Why did Lu Biao? I'm afraid not. The behavior of the Imperial Beast Gate is so domineering, and Hua-Tu released his spiritual energy wrapped in anger and said, "Can't do it. No one dares to tell me that the Beast Gate can't do it yet." Lu Dongjia was shaken and flew out, feeling aggrieved and saying, "A perfect foundation. What's so special about a perfect foundation? In places like the Sinai Desert, the highest spiritual land is only a second-level top-grade, and even the highest cultivator has a perfect foundation. There aren't many people in total, how can they always encounter them when they return?" Lu Biao complained in his heart and quickly sent a signal to invite all the other leaders of the Black Sand sect over. Upon hearing the alarm, the Black Sand Gate Foundation building cultivators flew their swords out of their respective caves, forming a line over the Big Fish Square. Facing numerous foundation building cultivators, Hua-Tu was not afraid. "Let me ask again, my old buddy wants to come into the workshop and borrow some water to drink, is that okay or not?" The leader of the Black Shaman sect. "Drink as much water as you want outside the neighborhood, and it's absolutely not allowed to enter Half Moon Lake." Lu Biao flew up to him and whispered, "He's a royal." The big boss raised his hand to stop it, confidently saying, "I haven't seen any cultivators from the Imperial Beast Gate, only an unnamed maniac with ulterior motives who came to my Big Fish shop to cause trouble." Backed by Daiyufang and supported by the second-level illusionary sand and fire formation, how could one be afraid of him not achieving success? Seeing the disagreement, Hua-Tu angrily took action. He presented a transparent turtle head-shaped artifact and attacked the 10 people first. The Black Shaman cultivator also offered magical weapons to resist, and the opponent's intentions were too big to understand before they dared to lightly attack the assassin at the book garden www.zhaozhuiyuan.com. For a moment, the magical weapons, talismans, and seals flew in unison over the desert, and smoke and dust rose everywhere. Hua-Tu fought back and forth with the power of one person against more than 10 foundation-building cultivators. "Old buddy!" Hua-Tu called out. Upon hearing the command, the Ta-Yen turtle moved like a huge grinding wheel, spinning and rushing towards the Black Sand Gate cultivator. The seemingly bulky rock turtle is far more agile than imagined, and the pressure brought by its huge body is even more suffocating. Not good, it's the golden elixir spirit beast. Quickly retreat back to the formation. I don't know who noticed the strangeness of the Ta-Yen turtle with their sharp eyes. By signing a contract, the Beast Master is able to control beasts of higher levels than himself. Hua Tu is just building a foundation for cultivation, but his companion beast, the Tashi rock turtle, has already formed a pill. Knowing that they were invincible, the foundation of the Black Sand Gate was built one after another to avoid its sharpness, and the slow body movements could only offer life-saving protective weapons. The Golden Dan rock turtle made a scorching arc in front of everyone, and with one strike, several protective tools turned into powder, causing more than half of the foundation-building cultivators in the Black Sand Gate to be seriously injured. More than 10 people hurriedly retreated to the Huanshaoyuhua formation, intending to defend themselves with the formation. The leader of the Black Shaman sect placed a spirit stone into the core of the formation, and under full force, the semi-transparent film-like protective mountain formation was materialized. The Great Formation absorbs yellow sand from the surrounding ground and solidifies into a sturdy, earthy yellow semi-circular shell, covering the Great Fish House in a black curtain composed of sand walls. Transform. With a command, the nameless flames rose from the bottom of the formation, melting the sand walls into transparent glass water and flowing along the formation. After the glass water solidifies, it becomes even stronger, which is the true appearance of the illusory sand fire formation. The Black Sand Gate cultivator in the formation showed a proud expression, and his heart was finally able to let go. Chapter 9. The two of us joining hands to kill in chaos. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fantastic. Hua Tu sneered. The cultivator and companion beast had already had a mutual understanding, and without any instructions from Hua Tu, the Ta Yen turtle flew up to the top of the formation, revealing its pointed steel-like tail. The turtle's head is facing the sky, falling vertically. The great weight and the great power of the golden pill are concentrated in the tail vertebra. The second stage mountain protection array is like a foam. It will break when it is touched. It will break when it persists for a moment. The fragments of glass turned into a shower of sand and rain, scattered throughout the neighborhood. De Yufeng seems to have experienced a sandstorm, with flying sand everywhere. Upon hearing that the formation had broken, the cultivators in the workshop scattered and fled for their lives in the sandstorm. After defeating the Black Sand Gate and annihilating the formation, the Tashi rock turtle jumped into the half-moon lake from mid-air. The Taiyin turtle is a land turtle that doesn't like water. It enters the water for a tour and quickly lands and leaves. Hua Tu muttered to himself. Strange, no abnormalities were found. Xianxia said to himself, if there is any abnormality, it's just me talking nonsense. He witnessed a melee with his own eyes in the rear and was deeply shocked. There are also differences between building foundations. There is a stark contrast between the unremarkable foundations of the Black Sand Gate and the elite foundations of the Beast Gate. Just an excluded foundation building cultivator, working together with his companion beasts, almost brought a catastrophic disaster to the Black Sand Gate. This is a behemoth in the eyes of nearby sections. Hua Tu is not a bloodthirsty person. He has his own discretion when it comes to his actions. How about someone else? In this world of cultivating immortals, it is indeed the law of the fittest, where the strong pound the bones and suck the marrow, while the weak have no bones left. Xianxia originally intended to leverage the power of the Imperial Beast Gate to make the Black Sand Gate more cautious and no longer target the Nyenyen sect recklessly. However, he did not expect things to develop in an uncontrollable direction. Black Shaman has just found his own misfortune, and now he has been seriously injured for more than half of his life. He can just calm down for a while, and his own safety is also guaranteed. Seeing two people and one beast leave, the leader said. Who is the young man behind the cultivator of the Imperial Beast Gate? Lu Biao ran fast just now and was not seriously injured. He stepped forward and said. He seems to be a disciple of the Nyenyen sect. The leader was puzzled and said. What is the origin of this cultivator from the Imperial Beast Gate? What is the relationship with the Nyenyen sect? Send someone to investigate quickly. Send some gifts to the Nyenyen sect to repair the relationship, and do not act rashly until it is found out. The only way to leave the Sinai Desert is through Xianxia, on the south side of the Nyenyen sect. Traveling to Xianxia, Zhao Shanhe bid farewell to Hua Tuesday. The mountains and rivers lead the way, almost putting Senior Hua in danger. It's really disappointing. Hua Tu waved his hand. I can't blame you for this. Did I take the opportunity to sweep away the accumulated depression over the years? Now that my achievements have been fulfilled, my elixir theory has been completed, my accumulated depression has dissipated, and my heart knot has been cleared. I'm going to exchange it for the 4th level cave to clear the level, and the elixir should be unobstructed. In words, there is an indescribable excitement and boldness. Zhaoshan River. Then I would like to congratulate the senior on the success of the golden elixir and the smooth path of immortality. Hua Tu took out an object and said. This map was drawn by me in the Sinai Desert for 10 years, and it contains rough information about various regions. I shouldn't be coming back in the future, so I'll give it to you as a gift. Zhao Shanhe took over the map and said. Shanhe is extremely grateful. Farewell to Hua Tu. Zhao Shanhe reviews the gains of this trip. Taking advantage of Kai Beiyu's greed and obsession, using crocodiles, sparrows, and eels as a medium, selling them to the Kai family to earn 100 second-order spirit stones, and destroying the fine-scale red carp in Banua Lake, paving the way for the listing of the fish. Hired by the Kai family to catch fish, he relieved the debt of the Nyenyen sect of 200 second-order spirit stones and earned a third-order spirit stone along with him. In terms of spiritual stones alone, including previous savings, Zhao Shanhe currently has 1/3-order spiritual stone, more than 300 second-order spiritual stones, and several first-order spiritual stones. With the addition of items to be monetized in the Scar Face storage bag, Zhao Shanhe's wealth has reached an unprecedented height. Send crocodiles, sparrows, and eels to Hua Tu, befriend the cultivator of the Imperial Beast Gate who can obtain the elixir, and receive the 2nd-level life card and map. Taking advantage of the reputation and domineering style of the Imperial Beast Gate, we take advantage of the situation to punish the Black Sand Gate and make it a deterrent. Although each step is intertwined and progressing smoothly, it is all a helpless move, like dancing on the tip of a knife. A slight mistake can lead to irreparable harm. Zhao Shanhe suppressed his inner joy and forced himself to calm down. Standing by the river often, where can one not get their shoes wet? Conspiracy is always a small trick, the main road is the foundation. Our own strength is low, and we must always prioritize improving our cultivation. We must not easily use this dangerous move. If you lose yourself and embark on the evil path of playing with conspiracies just because of one chance, it will put the cart before the horse. Weighing the life card in hand, it only has a 2nd level and cannot be used by oneself. For a moment, I cannot think of how to use it. There are 3 ideas. One is to trade with families who urgently need to exchange their destiny. The second is to go to the Imperial Beast Gate to exchange for the highest priced 2nd-level item on the surface, and then exchange it for a spirit stone. The third is to leave it for family and friends who have a path ahead. The value of this life card may far exceed the 10 3rd-level spirit stones promised by Hua Tu, and it is currently the most valuable thing in Zhao Shanhe's hands. Zhao Shanhe should be careful to keep it. Returning to the sect, Zhao Shanhe met Mr. Zhao and his senior brother Zhao Pu in the main hall. Zhao Pu handed him a secret letter sent from outside the mountain, which contained only one sentence. There is news about the longevity pill. Come to Xinye quickly and see you at the old place. Xianxia was a friend made by Zhao Shanhe during his travels out of the mountains, and he was also the only reliable relationship he had outside the Sinai Desert. During the exhibition period, Zhao Lao taught Zhao Shanhe a lesson. Nowadays, the outside world is not peaceful, and news of the foundation building cultivators melee has come from Dayufang. You must not run around, and practicing well on the mountain is the right path. Zhao Shanhe chuckled too. When we went to Dayufang, my friends, and I teamed up to break through the Black Sand Gates formation and easily deposed the 5 leaders. Zhao Liangkai assumed that Zhao Shanhe was lying and teasing himself, saying, "A bunch of nonsense. The more you talk, the more boundless it becomes." Zhao Shanhe knew about Zhao Liangcai's mental illness. Senior brother Zhao Pu and Zhao Shanhe are both disciples of the sect leader's lineage, with a superior position among the younger generation. They are considered popular candidates for future sect leaders, but unfortunately, neither of them is very focused on the position of sect leader. Zhao Pu is a relative of Zhao Liangkai and has a high reputation in the Zhao family. It is normal to support Zhao Pu as the leader. I had no intention of competing for the position of head, and Zhao Liang was relatively loyal and kind, so Zhao Shanhe didn't argue with him over small matters. Helping Master find longevity elixirs is a consensus reached by all disciples in secret. Zhaoshuyuan.com is executed by Zhao Shanhe, who often goes out. This matter is of utmost importance. He greeted his senior brother, informed him of his destination, and then hurriedly set off. After Zhao Shanhe left, Zhao Liang then muttered to Zhao Pu, "Look at this kid, he's so wild-tempered. He just came back and sneaked down the mountain, how could he look like a leader? I can tell you, AP, Shanhe is a good kid, clever, and capable. I also like him, but he is still an outsider. The position of leader can only be held by our Zhao family, and you must compete for it." Zhao Pu ignored it and said warmly, "I only listen to my master. You're trying to anger me to death." Zhao Lao was so angry that he jumped and his grey beard trembled up and down. Between words, Qingxi hurriedly came here panting heavily and said, "Mr. Zhao and senior brother, something big has happened. Black Shaman. Black Shaman." Zhao Lao and Zhao Pu's emotions plummeted to the bottom. "Black Shaman is coming over. Shier, please speak slowly." Qingxi took a few breaths and blushed as she said, "The Black Sha sect's gift ceremony is presented with a generous gift. Please forgive the previous responsibility of rushing into the mountain gate, sect leader." How could that be? Those bastards would bow their heads and admit their mistakes. Zhao was dumbfounded. Zhao Pu also had some doubts. Can it be that what junior brother Shanhe said is true? Zhao Laodao. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Qingxi continued. Are you talking about senior brother Shanhe? I just came to find him. The Black Shaman has prepared a generous gift for him to personally accept before he dares to leave. Zhao Liangkai said. This kid. Chapter 10. The Traces of Infant Thieves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhao Shanhe walked out of the west wind mouth disheveled and unkempt, casually applying a cleansing talisman to his body. He didn't care about tidying up his messy hair and drove a snail fruit shuttle straight towards Xianxia. The Sinai Desert is isolated from the vast realm of cultivation and can only be connected to the outside world through the west wind mouth. In the evening, the dusty Zhao Shanhe rushed to Xingye Square outside Xifengku. Xingifang is the closest city to Xifengfeng, under the jurisdiction of the largest cultivation sect, Qiushui Palace, in a nearby area. The Sinai Desert, where the Zhao Shanhe sect is located, is relatively barren. He regularly visits Xingifang to exchange local produce for some supplies needed by the immortals in the sect. As soon as he entered the market, Zhao Shanhe noticed that the atmosphere in Xingye Square was a bit strange today. On the bustling streets, many stalls are empty, and several shops that do well on weekdays have hung wooden signs of closure. The passers-by were in a hurry, and some inexperienced cultivators were whispering cautiously at the street corner. Zhao Shanhe didn't want to provoke trouble, so he lowered his head and walked straight into an inconspicuous small hotel. The informant saw a guest coming in and quickly bowed forward to greet them. Before he could speak, Zhao Shanhe said directly. Find someone, Jia Er, surnamed Shao. The guest left a message saying that you can go in directly when you arrive. Knowledgeable customer, leave without any nonsense. Xianxia went upstairs and walked to room A2. He lightly knocked on the door 3 times and spoke. Senior Xiao, I'm here. Senior, damn it. The door was suddenly pulled open from inside, and a young man who was as old as Xianxia appeared inside the door. The young man has sharp eyebrows and starry eyes, a face with sharp edges, and a pair of good skin follicles. We have a lifelong friendship. We agreed to be brothers. What's going on? We haven't seen each other for only 3 years. Did you change or did I change? The young man grabbed Xianxia's wrist with one hand, pulled him into the guest room, and sat down at the table. With a light wave of the other hand, the door closed tightly. It was my fault for making a momentary slip of the tongue. I see that Brother Zhao's state of mind has been stable in the early stage of building the foundation, and his cultivation has improved significantly in the past 3 years. Xianxia quickly apologized and offered another flattery. Brother Xianxia, you're not bad either. You've already practiced 5 levels of qi. It's still early, our brothers haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's have 2 drinks first. Xianxia began to pour wine while speaking. If you want to talk about this strong liquor, you still have to drink it from the Sinai Desert. There are not many good things in the old land of Qiyun, but this black thorn liquor can be considered a masterpiece. After swallowing it in one gulp, my throat feels like swallowing thorns raw, and it's so satisfying. Last month, when I went to the rainforest in the north, the sweet cane liquor there was not very delicious, and birds faded out of my mouth. Black thorn wine is the only successful invention after crossing the Zhaoshan River. In order to expand financial resources, Xianxia suggested to the old leader to plant seabuckthorn rice on slopes that are not suitable for growing food. This plant has extremely strong survival ability, high starch content in its fruit, and weak spiritual energy. It can be used to brew spirit wine, making it a good economic crop. The key is that there is no need to assign dedicated cultivators to take care of it. Ordinary people can pick and collect it during their busy farming time. The Blackthorn Spirit Wine Brewed is a first-order inferior product that is loved by cultivators and is currently the flagship product of the Nianyan sect for export. Brother Xiao, the news you mentioned in your letter. Xianxia couldn't help but interrupt halfway. The longevity pill is too important. After forcing Lu Biao to retreat, Master's situation became even worse, and he didn't want to delay it for a moment. Since my younger brother is so anxious, let me first tell you the intelligence I know. Xianxia doesn't have the airs of a senior founder at all, so he naturally doesn't mind any rudeness. He put down the wine bottle, looked serious, took out a white talisman from his storage bag, bounced it up, and snapped his fingers. The white talisman burned instantly in the air. A transparent light mask slowly formed, enveloping the two people. Xianxia knows that this is a soundproof symbol, and now they can't be heard outside. Xianxia is usually carefree and easy going, and he is very reliable in handling serious matters. A few days ago, a baby from a cultivation family in the east was stolen and offered a sky-high reward. Among them, there are 3 longevity pills, one of which can prolong life by 20 years. If a baby thief can retreat completely, their cultivation will definitely far surpass yours and me, right? Xianxia raised doubts. Don't worry, I have received definite news that the cultivator who stole the baby has died. He handed over the child to his accomplice who received it, and then turned around to block the pursuers. He was determined to die but was killed on the spot. That accomplice's realm is the same as mine, but in the early stages of building the foundation, he relied on his body skills to escape for several days. At this point, he should have reached the end of his strong crossbow. When I faced the enemy, you restrained me, and the two joined forces, they may not have had the opportunity. Before he could finish speaking, Xianxia had already developed a sense of retreat. There must be a wide range of implications behind this matter, and it is not something that lower-level cultivators of their level can participate in. Xianxia crossed the river and arrived in this realm, always acting cautiously. Especially 3 years ago, due to recklessness, I just experienced a life-and-death disaster, and I still have lingering palpitations today. Although the longevity pill is important, one cannot disregard the safety of one's family and sect. Thank you for the news, Brother Xiao. As my younger brother's journey is coming to an end, I can't do much to help with the foundation building struggle. Moreover, the matter of stealing babies is too deep, and I can't let you get into trouble because of me. Let's talk about the longevity pill in the future. When we reunite today, we should drink and have fun all night long. We won't return until we get drunk. After speaking, Xianxia picked up the wine bottle that Xianxia had just put down. That makes sense, then I'll listen to my younger brother and stop meddling. But you didn't come in vain today. Xianxia was not in a hurry to drink anymore. He took out a simple and elegant brown small square box from the storage bag and placed it flat on the table. Opening the lid of the box, a fragrant medicinal fragrance accompanied by spiritual power overflowed. This longevity pill was obtained by chance a few days ago, and it can only increase my lifespan by 1 year. It's better than nothing. I originally planned to give it to you together after the task was completed. I'll drink the wine another day. Please collect the pill and hurry up and go back. No merit, no reward. Please forgive me for not taking any benefits in vain. Let's leave the workshop now and go to the spiritual medicine store in Danding City to estimate the value. I will compensate you according to the value of the spiritual stone. Xianxia declined Xianxia's kindness. Xianxia laughed heartily. Brother Xianxia is not satisfied. 3 years ago, you fought hard to save each other, and it was only after I built the foundation that I had a good life of over 100 years. If I were lucky enough to successfully obtain the pill in the future and earn it for hundreds of years in vain, how much pill could it be converted into? What is a mere longevity pill worth? How can you still talk to me so seriously? 3 years ago, we fought side by side, living and dying together. It's hard to say who saved who, Xianxia said solemnly. You don't have to rush me away again, you're just pretending to be relaxed. I just want to ask, even if there's no reward or longevity pill, do you still have to wade through the muddy waters of stealing babies? The place of righteousness is where I go. Xianxia's expression was resolute. I understand. Xianxia had the answer in his heart, it was still the Xianxia he knew. Xianxia accepted the Yani and Dan, but did not leave. He doesn't want to watch his only friend face danger alone, so he plans to stay and try his best to help him. Speaking of help, he knows how much he weighs and how many liang he has. At most, he can throw a few talisman seals from a distance. If there is any danger, he will immediately moisten it. The role of Xianxia is to take care of the children and take them away from the battlefield as soon as possible if there is an opportunity to save them during this trip. The two agreed to immediately retreat if they found something impossible. Xianxia repeatedly insisted that if he successfully received the reward, he would only take 1 longevity pill from his own family, and the rest would belong to Xianxia. Firstly, one's own level is low and output is small. Secondly, the second type of longevity pill has little effect. Xianxia remained non-committal and only said to discuss it after the matter was over.